Find ourselves confronted with a little baby rattlesnake about 12 inches long that's going to dominate the trail ahead of us. Now we're in an area where there's a cliff on one side of us and there's a drop off on the other, and the trail's maybe 2.5 to 3 feet wide depending on where you're at. You know, it wavers in and out a little bit. So this guy's got the trail dominated, and he's sitting there rattling away all coiled up, and he says, you know, look, guys, you're not coming by here because, you know, I'm confused, I'm stuck, and I don't know what to do. And I just look at Snake, you know, I just got in tune with him, you know, after a bit, you know, I gave him a minute to see what he'd do, if he'd crawl off the edge or what, but he didn't. So finally, after a bit, I just got in tune with that snake. I just put out my hand and shared a vibe with him. I said, listen, Snake, we got to go by. We're not going to harm you. We're not going to hurt you. We just got to get by, you know, and be on our merry way. And then you can go crawl off the other direction and everybody's happy. So I just kind of held my hand out and kept his eye all the way around. I just walked real carefully right around him, you know, within a couple of feet of him, which was easy striking distance, but I had no choice, you know. Maybe it was 1.5 feet, but I had no choice. He just stayed reared back and watched me and rattled the whole time, but he let me go by. And then I got 5, 6 more people behind me, and I do the same process. I just held the snake's attention in that case, and they got by. He didn't even look over at me. I held his attention. You know, I just kept beaming him that radiant love that we're all so capable of, but don't always know it, especially in trying times, man. Sometimes your response is different. You know, sometimes it's a little more negative and dark. And then, you know, the outcome sometimes is a little different too. You get what you put out, babies. You know what I mean? It's just the way it works. It ain't always easy. But we're getting past those stages now because we're starting to see the love in everything. Even the naughty things you might be doing. You know, even the things that, you know, in some people's opinion might not be correct. Well, who the heck cares? You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and even if you are, even if that's, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's not your intention, but even if that's the outcome, babies, you got to see the love. You got to understand that your intention is what purifies everything you do. Now, I'm not trying to give you an excuse to go hurt people. I'm saying no. But if this has happened, then you just got to let go of it and move on. The other person might take a while. Oh, well. You know, you can't live another person's life form, yet you do. Do you understand? What you see in them is what you see in you. And what you see in you is what you see in them too. It goes both ways. But the more awake you are, and then it doesn't matter really. This is what purifies your actions, because the more awake you are, you know, you make allowances for yourself because you're still just getting out of the sleepy-headed insanity in which we've lived forever. So you got a lot of programmed habits and shit, you know, and you're dealing with them. And real creatively, I'm so amazed to see how this works in everyone and how quickly everybody's catching on. But son of a gun, it like, wow, blows me away. It always will too. You guys just rock. I don't know if you know it or not, but you do, babies. You just keep this process going, and we just keep reflecting it back to you. And I mean, you know, we're getting there, babies. And Independence Day is a coming, and I think that's as symbolic as any other day. You know what I mean? Because this is worldwide independence and beyond. This is independence for all. It's freedom and justice and everything you could ever imagine, all rolled up into one sweet little package we call ascendancy. But it's really just a shift in consciousness. A change in the way we see things, and therefore a change in the way we express and experience them too. Everything we've done in the past is not going to last. Everything we're looking forward to, that's probably what we're going to do. But who knows? Let's just write it out and see, babies. Let the heart create it. It's part of the fun of it. It's watching the divine mystery unravel, you know. Wow. It's a beautiful thing. And it does. It comes from right inside of you and flows right into this existence, man, and becomes what it is. beautiful, poetic, about time. Very much about time, baby. About time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. The reality, the heart's coming round. And baby, baby, you've just been found. Right here on the Coyote Medicine Show. Only on the Hazy Radio Network. Your ticket to flight each and every night. Oh, babies. And like I say, daylight. 4 o'clock this afternoon. Right again for another 3 hours, babies. In the daylight. Coyotes come out of the night and prance around in the daylight, shine our hearts really bright, and holy cow, things change and rearrange. And babies, it ain't so strange. That's our reality. We're creative. We know how to do this stuff from the heart level. We got every power that ever there was or ever will be right there in that creative little heart of ours. And it's unraveling itself now. You know, the restrictions that were placed on us so long ago that we can't even remember. I mean, it's been that long, many thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. These restrictions were placed on our heart, which made us really, really, really unconscious. And we've been working out of them ever since. That's what these thousands of years have been about. Step by step, moment to moment, loving moment to loving moment, we brought it back. Babies, there's nothing impossible. You can face anything. There is no need for fear. It has no place here. But you got to realize that. You got to know that. See it in motion. Understand. So if you dabble with it a little bit more, understand yourself and just let it go. If there's love, you needed to go through that just to learn. It's okay. You'll come out of it. And you'll come together to all of this. We're one heart united. We're not losing it this time, babies. We rigged the game well ahead of time. And we got it. Because we've blown it so many times before. We come close a time or two, baby. But close don't count anything but horseshoes. That's the only place close counts. Everywhere else, close don't matter to a hill of beans. Getting it is what counts. So if you got it, don't flaunt it. Just appreciate the getting, because not everybody does, but everybody is. That's the beauty of this day and age. No one is left behind. Damn. This is far grander than the education you get in our American propaganda schools. Oh my goodness. I can remember when social engineering became the rave of education. You know, they started building these new schools, and I know our population is all out there isolated where it was there in Utah where I grew up. Being the isolated population that it was, they like to do social experiments on us. You know, a lot of their MK Ultra stuff too, but that we'll talk about that some other time. But wow. You know, I mean, I was going to this old school with this old style principal. And of course, I was acting up, having trouble. I'm kindergarten, I was getting in trouble. First grade, I'm in deep doo-doo, you know. So that school kind of would like to see me go somewhere else. Because I'm a handful. I'm a little bit difficult, you know. And I don't always attend classes when I should and stuff like that, you know. But anyway, so they're like building this new school just a couple of blocks from my house, and I'm like, oh, there goes because it don't look nothing like the old school I've been going to. The old school was a big old 2-story brick and wooden building, had creaky old floors, creaky old wooden floors, and was just a neat old place. Smelled like a schoolhouse, you know what I mean? Had that Crayola smell and the wax smell and the sanitation smell. They use all those chemicals that have those smells in them, and that's what you get in those schools. But at least they had windows and they were open and airy and bright, It was really nice. Even though it was a rickety old school, been around for 50 years or so already, it was a great school. I loved it, man, and I wanted to stay in it. But, things being what they were, they moved me over to this new one. And now, all of a sudden, it's just real sterile to start with. Everything is sterile, It's just real staid in its architecture, kind of box-like. And there's these lines on the floor that show you where to walk. In the tile, they got lines marked, to show you the line to the lunchroom, the line to this, the line to that. And then these bells are exactly timed. The bells go off at just the right moment, and you're like rocking down and moving around because the bell told you to. And then you have a warning bell before the class ends. You have a 2-minute warning so the teachers know to wrap up their gig and get you the hell on your way. Stuff like that. Everything was like engineered for group thought, group thinking. And, you know, the principal there was kind of a Nazi. He had that same Nazi attitude. You know, you will behave and you will behave now. You know, that kind of thing, you know. And you could tell, I mean, I was just a kid, but I could tell that this was their way of testing out some new, you know, some of their pigeonhole concepts on people, you know. And I could smell the brainwashing built into it, you know. The people that were in the business, for the most part, were sincere, but oh my goodness, the stuff that was coming in there with this new school, and then the difficult behavior that they wanted to control and contain, put in a bottle, and you know, I mean, it was kind of like Clockwork Orange. It's almost that bad in the way it wanted to slant the whole thing and get you to behave. You know, it was all designed to get you to behave in a certain way, to conform to a certain style, a certain standard in life, and not vary from that either. Just take all of your inspiration from that, you know. And babies, it was a dead place to be in. It wasn't beautiful. It was regimented. It was kind of quasi-military in its applications. Oh, in my little childhood, I know I had the worst teacher on earth that year. Oh my goodness. She was hostile and mean and beat on the kids a lot. I won't go on to describe it, but back then that was kind of recognized as, you know, an admirable quality in an old spinster school teacher. If she beat the kids, she must be doing something right, you know. That's why those old parents thought back in those days. That's how archaic our society was there. It was really a closed-in place. So you can see how easy it would be to play with these people because they're already under a certain spell already just from the culture that they're living in and the regimentation built into that. They're used to it. So they don't understand why their children would object to any increased regimentation in their lives, because that just seems to be the norm there. Not the, you know, you give up your freedom when you're a child. You know, you don't get it anymore after that. They say. That's the basic philosophy, you know. And it was wow. You know, of course, I started acting up and doing my share of resistance quite intrinsically. You don't think about those things. It just happens. So that was a wild year, too, that first year in that regimented school. Holy cow. The second year there wasn't quite as bad because I had a kinder teacher who really knew the ropes and, you know, like this little apple polisher kid that never brought her an apple but always brought her a smile. Geez, I was so in love with my third grade teacher. Oh, man. To this day I love her. You know, I go visit her in the rest home, see how she's doing, you know. Hey, baby, you want to go out for dinner? I was so disappointed when she got married that year. Oh, baby. But oh well. Such is life, man. It's filled with those wondering little disappointments. Huh? But anyway, there it was, man. There I was, confronted with what the world was about to become right there in the schoolhouse, you know, of my younger days, the new schoolhouse. Fortunately, I only had to do a few years there, and I got to go back to the old one for a year before I moved on to junior high. So it was kind of nice to go back and to have the comparison, babies. The difference was night and day, let me tell you. They weren't the same schools at all, you know. Night and day difference. I mean, that was very visible to a kid. Imagine somebody that, you know, knows the ropes and knows how, you know, mind conditioning and so forth goes. They take a look at those two schools and they go, oh my God. You know, contrast, baby. The kids that came out of the old Jeff, which was the early one, the kids that come out of there were a lot freer than the kids that come out of the other one, the new boxy one. Oh, jeez. But you know, the thing that saved us in that boxy one, I told them, there was some disasters, and one time big old train wreck threatened the whole place, blowing up, burning up, all that kind of stuff. And we all alighted together and aligned ourselves and got out of there just fine. I mean, it was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, when our whole lives were threatened, everything we were, we should have been dead by rights. But of course, the angels saved us again. Thank goodness. But, I mean, that was one of the moments in the new school when people had to give up the regimentation, become human, and take care of business. And we had a few moments like that there. So it really kind of saved us in a way, because it gave us some genuineness right along with the phoniness, right along with the regimentation, the superficial. There were moments in time where everybody united because there was a common threat against us of one sort or another. And we came together as human beings and not as, persons of conditioning and training, or persons subject to conditioning and training and so forth, but as human beings, really as equals with the teachers and everybody. When those moments are on, you're on, you know what I mean? And you do what you got to do. And you do it because you know it's the right thing, because you're united in heart with all these other beings. And it really gives you courage and strength to get through those moments instead of dying in fearful hysteria or something. You know what I mean? Because we all could have been blown to bits then, but we weren't. And I think that's a lot of it, is because we were calm and had a good attitude about it. Most of us, Everybody was scared, of course. But most of us was able to maintain. This has been a lifelong gift I learned, I guess, from those moments back then. I really hadn't realized it. But I learned a certain calmness in times of disaster that really served me well in the future time. Saved my life more than once, I'll tell you, man. That effect, if you can learn to be calm when things are really happening, the action's going down, and you're right there in the middle of it. If you can learn to be calm in moments like that, or notice that you are calm, and let that calmness guide you through it. Babies, you're going to live to tell about anything. Nobody can hurt you or nothing. That's part of the reality. If you can learn in that calmness, what really is giving you that calmness is a certain peace, because you know it's going to be all right. You feel the protection of the angels. You feel your heart rising up and saying, okay, we'll deal with this. Let's get it rocking. And you get through it. And the disasters turn into triumphs for the heart. There's no such thing as a disaster. The disaster only creates triumph in all of humanity. That's its ultimate outcome. These days, I don't think we're in for so much disaster anymore. I know a lot of people think differently. But feel the courage in your heart, as I speak about such things. Feel the awakening in your soul as we talk about life. And sing about it too here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. Babies, we're getting it right tonight. And why? Because our hearts are open. When your heart's open, babies, there's nothing that's impossible. Everything is not only doable, but doneable. You did it already because that was what your heart wanted to do, see? So you won't do a harmful thing because you're moving in loving ways. This is how significant the change becomes as we roll through it. Babies, it's a beautiful, beautiful night to be alive. You're shining bright. Oh my goodness, you're doing it just right. And Grandpa's heart is filled with great delight, as I'm sure grandmother's is too. Babies, we're in it together, all of us. Wow. What a beautiful thing. What a great ride. Let's keep it rocking and rolling here. Keep them old wings spread out, babies. We got a few more minutes to fly. Oh, babies, yeah, babies. Don't even try. Just let it come to you. Let it come through you. And just, rock steady. Right here. Coyote Medicine Show. Oh, yeah.